guys, I hope you're all doing really well today. I've been filming for a little while now and I am starting to feel really a little fatigued, so I'm really sorry if I sound a little bit tired. I'm gonna try to sound peppy, but if I start to sound a little tired, that's why. So before I talk about the brushes that I'm going to talk about in this video, I wanted to show you guys real quick a nail polish that I picked up last week because I love it. It is by Zoya and it is from their Pixie collection. I got it at, it's called Pixie Dust. Tomoko is the name of it, and it is like this Hollywood, like silver gold kind of color, and I just think it's super cool. I love it. It's super easy to apply. This was 2 coats and it went on really, really evenly. A lot of times like glittery type shadows will be uneven when you're applying the glitter. This was super even, really pretty. I thought it was really awesome. So I wanted to tell you guys about it real quick before I jumped into the brushes. So this video was actually requested by a longtime subscriber of mine who I really love. Her name is Marvell and she actually has her own blog. It's called Blog of Shadows, so you guys should totally check that out. I'll put a link to it below. But it's a video that I thought was a really good one that I've kind of been meaning to do for a long time anyway, so I thought, what the heck, it's a great opportunity, great time to do it. So I am a brush junkie. I love brushes, and so I have a lot of expensive brushes. Now I haven't tried like all the brands, like I haven't tried Tom Ford brushes or some of the ones that are really popular. I just have so many brushes already that are so great that I just have not tried those. It's like I've expanded my brush collection. It's way too much for what I need, and I feel like I've taken a little break on buying brushes, except I did just buy like the Goss makeup brushes. Other than that, I'm trying not to buy too many more brushes. When I see them, like I'll buy them, but I have so many that I really don't need more. But these are the ones that are kind of like my all-time, like today, current, all-time favorite brushes. I use them all the time and I really love them. So the first one is my one all-time favorite brush. I love this brush. I cannot say enough how much I love this brush. I love it. I would buy it again and again and again and again. And it is the Hakuhodo S111 Blush Brush. So it's from their Beverly Hills series. Mine is actually chipping like on the end, which I don't really care about. I mean, I'll bet you could try to put like clear nail polish on the end and it probably wouldn't do that, but it's like gold-plated ferrule. It's made of blue squirrel hair. It's really expensive. I think it's close to $100, but this brush, you guys, it is just, it's freaking phenomenal. I mean, it really, really is phenomenal. It's so soft, and the squirrel hairs, I've always been a big fan of squirrel hair. They're just tapered so nicely. I feel like the squirrel hairs that are so fine, like they're so soft, but they pick up powder just so evenly. The taper on this brush is so excellent. It just picks up powder so nicely. For my fair skin tone, I can wear any really pigmented blush using this. Like sometimes with a really pigmented blush, it's really hard to pick up the pigments and not overdo it with like poorer quality brushes. But this one, it's like you literally, how I use it is I just tap it in the product. If it looks like it picked up too much, I like will re-tap it on the back of my hand, and then I apply it just like this. I kind of drag it, and it just, the way it deposits the blush is just so beautiful. It's amazing. I've used it almost every day probably since I got it. I mean, I do use my other blush brushes because I have to try them out, and I do have to give them all a little bit of love, but this one, I use it. It's my favorite by far. I love it so much. And then, in contrast to that one, which is super crazy expensive, another favorite of mine that I have come to love dearly this past year when it came out is the e.l.f. Small Stipple Brush. A $3 brush. To me, as nice. I mean, maybe, I don't know if it will hold up as long as my MAC one, but my small MAC stipple brush, this to me, it performs just as well, and I just love it for cream blush. That's what I use it for the most. Sometimes I use it for cream highlight as well, but other people I know use it for foundation. To me, it's a little too small for me for foundation, but it's just such a good brush. $3. If you get it on sale from e.l.f. for 50% off, $1.50. You know, just cannot beat that. I cannot say enough things about that. I have 2 of them. I really want more just to keep forever in case I ever discontinue it, but such a good deal. Another of my favorite brushes that I use like almost every day now is the Tarte Airbrush foundation brush, and this, I just love how big it is. It's so easy for me to just buff in my foundation. It's very, very soft, but it also just covers such a good surface area and blends out the foundation so nicely. I just love the job that it does. I love it so much more than my other foundation brushes. Another brush, which has pretty much been the only brow brush that I've used ever since I got it. I have several brow brushes. This is the one by far that is most amazing to me. It is the Hakuhodo S111 brush. So this is made of, I think it's maybe weasel hair or something like that. Badger hair, maybe. I love how thin it is. It's thin, but not too thin. It's stiff enough. It's just the right stiffness, the right, like, I don't know. Everything about it is just right. I really love it. I would buy it again and again. I can't say enough good things about this brush. This one and the blush brush are my two favorite Hakuhodo ones, that's for sure. And then two brushes that I totally recommend for anyone staple makeup. These are kind of expensive brushes, but you can use them for so long, especially if you get brush guards. They're raved and raved about for good reason, and those are the MAC eyeshadow brushes, the 217 brush and the 239 brush. So I use these nearly every day, especially the 239 brush to pack on eyeshadow. I have two of each of these. And then the 217 brush, you can use it for a million things. I think Goss makeup artist, I saw a video that he did with like 10 purposes for the, I can't remember what it was actually called, but I think it was like 10 purposes for the 217, and he basically was like, you can do almost your whole face with this if you needed to, which is true. I mean, you can do, he was like, you can use it for highlighter, you can use it blending out concealer, you can use it for packing on setting powder on concealer, you can use it for concealer on your face, you can use it for packing on eyeshadow, for blending out eyeshadow, for smudging out eyeshadow. I actually like using the 239 not only for packing things on, but for smudging out. If you turn it this way, it's actually thin enough that I like smudging things out with it. And I also, you're gonna laugh at me for this, but I actually use it also as an eyebrow brush sometimes. For a while, I exclusively used this just for powder. I would do like a really light color of powder and do it all over my whole entire brow, and then I would go back in with like a darker color and a more fine, precise brush and fill in like the rest, and I thought it looked really, really good when I did that. Anyway, they're just such amazing brushes. Totally recommend. They'll last you a long time. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Two that have just made it into my new all-time favorites. I almost like feel like they can't make it into an all-time favorite unless they've been a favorite for a long time, but I know these are going to be favorites for a long time, and I'll tell you exactly why. They're two of the brushes from the Goss makeup artist, the collection that he just did. So I've only had these for maybe a month or so, but they are amazing. And it's the, let's see, the brush number 2, which was like his larger powder brush, and this is amazing for blush. Let me tell you guys, like if you do it like this way, not like this way, if you do it out this way and blend it in a swirling motion, it's so nice for blush. It's so soft. It's perfect size for highlights, so nice. And for bronzer, I mean not bronzer, contour, like for contour, oh my gosh, I've been loving it, you guys. I've been loving this for contour better than any of my brushes for contour, and I usually was one who liked a stiffer brush for contour, like a more like stiff blending brush, and then I would buff it out the way I wanted. But this is just the, I don't know, the size of it, it's pointy, it just, the way that it blends it and applies it just so easily. Really, really love this brush. Love it so much. And then the second one by him is the number 5 brush. And the reason why I love this is because I have a really deep set crease that's very small. My eyes are small to begin with. And so this is very precise in how it places product into my crease. And by the way, I actually used only this brush to do my entire smoky eye today. I used it to smudge out the eyeshadow underneath my eye, like all along my lash line. I used it every time I was applying eyeshadow and kind of like buffing and blending, because not only, and this is so amazing to me, I don't know how it does this, but not only does it place the shadow precisely, like, you know, for the crease because of the shape, it being so skinny, but somehow these squirrel hairs, I've always been a fan of how they blend out shadow. People complain that they're too soft, but if they're in a stiff enough pattern, I mean, if they're like really soft, like maybe in a powder brush, for example, like where the bristles are really far out, then yeah, you can't really blend things out. But for the most part, like if it's stiff enough, like this is dense enough, it's a little bit springy, somehow these just blend out shadows so nicely, and it'll pull the shadow on your skin nicely, and I really love it for that. Like I said, I did my whole entire smoky eye look with just this brush, and then the eyeliner that I used, that was all I used, and it was easy. It was so easy, and I just loved it. It's amazing. I love that brush. So the brush that's my favorite powder brush of all time would be my Hakuhodo Beverly Hills S111 brush. And this is not the softest that Hakuhodo makes, because Hakuhodo, they will use blue squirrel hair and other squirrel hairs for their face brushes, but they'll also use goat hair, and sometimes they'll use a combination of goat hair and synthetic hair, which feels even softer than goat hair because the synthetic hairs are so soft, it'll make it feel even softer than goat hair. And then of course there's different types of goat hair that they use, and so some of those will feel softer than others, but this one is not the softest goat hair, but of course if you actually felt it, you would feel, oh, it's such a soft brush. I mean, it's not stiff at all, but what I love about this is that it's so stinking huge, like, and the shape of it is so cool. Like, it's skinny this way, but it's fat that way, and so if you're doing all over like setting powder, you can just, or even bronzer or anything, you can just get such a big amount of your face all at once. And the taper gradation, it's so nice and everything. It picks up powder really nice and evenly and distributes it just really beautifully, and I love that brush. I think it's a really great brush, and I think they maybe make this brush shape in some of the other lines that Hakuhodo has, which may be cheaper, because this one was really expensive. I think I can't remember exactly how much it was. You guys can look it up on their website, but I think it was pretty high. So another couple of brushes before I finish this all-time favorite brushes video, a couple of brushes that I really love that I picked out of my whole entire collection are this Tarte Airbrush Blush Brush. It's always hard for me to say that. To say brush and blush in the same thing, somehow I always get mixed up, but this looks like this. I actually got it in a QVC kit, but it is exactly the same as the ones that they sell normally, so you can still buy this, and it's basically a stippling brush. I love the taper of it. I find that it is so nice for using with cream blush, especially Tarte actually makes an airbrush blush, and using this on that and then doing this is just so amazing with that product in particular, but you can also use it with other cream products. And then Hakuhodo, I can't remember the name of this, but I will list it down below, and I'll list all of these in the order that they came in the video, so you'll know this one came pretty late in the video, and I'm gonna call it a concealer brush. This is actually an eyeshadow brush from Hakuhodo, and it's not recommended that you use this as a concealer brush because it is made with squirrel hair, blue squirrel hair, and blue squirrel hair isn't supposed to be used with cream products, but I've been using this with cream products for a long time, and it seems to have been just fine with it. And what I love about this is that somehow those really fine squirrel hairs just, like in an airbrush way, they blend out my concealer. And I think I've talked about this before in a video, but I've been using this a lot with my Makeup Forever Full Coverage Waterproof Concealer, and literally if I dot a little bit of this, like I'll put some of that on the back of my hand and dot a little bit on this and put it on the spot that I'm trying to cover, and you can't even tell I'm wearing concealer. Like, it's just so amazing. I really love this for spot concealer jobs. And then two more cream eyeshadow brushes by Sephora. I have their new one and I have their old one. The old one was called Cream Eyeshadow 25 and the new one is called Pro Cream Shadow 28. But this is the difference. I think the handle is longer on the black one, as you can see. I actually like the silver one a little bit better, but the idea of having a brush like this is really good because it's easier to blend out your cream shadow like into your crease and stuff if you have a brush like this instead of your fingers. The fingers are a little bit chunkier and a little bit sloppier. These actually do a great job of blending out like cream shadow. If you're not just trying to put your cream shadow just all over your lid and you're trying to do like more with it, these work really well. And then another really definitely favorite, I use this all the time for my eyeshadow, is by Hakuhodo, and again, I'll list the number of it below, but this is another one of their squirrel hair ones. It's a big eyeshadow brush. You can see it's quite large, so you might think, oh my goodness gracious, what's she gonna do with this? But I love this for highlight or all over lid color. It's not too big for me for those purposes. The way, again, just I'm such a fan of how these squirrel hairs pick up product, and you're not gonna find these squirrel hairs for the most part, unless you're buying like the Japanese brushes. Like most other companies don't use them. See, it's goat hair that you're going to be finding like in MAC brushes and a lot of the other brushes. I can't believe it, but I actually got to the end of those. So guys, those are my favorite, like I guess top maybe, I don't know if that was like 12, 15, something like that brushes. And I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. I hope you find it helpful. You guys will have to let me know if you have any of these brushes and you like them or don't like them. I find that brushes kind of, it depends on personal preference, like how you like to apply your products, what products you use them with, as well as kind of how you use them. A lot of times a brush can work just fine for one person and another person may not prefer it. So, but anyway, these are just my personal favorites. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you found this helpful. Be sure to comment below if you have any questions or comments. And of course you can always follow me on Instagram or on Twitter. And I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Love you guys. Bye!